Hi, my name is Rich Coles from Prodactive Project Solutions. I've been managing projects and programs for most of my career in global companies such as Cadbury Schweppes, GlaxoSmithKline and Costa Coffee, and worked in sectors which covers therefore consumer goods, hospitality, retail, pharmaceutical. I've also worked in property and amongst other areas. And throughout my career, I've developed the way of working within projects, following the various project methodologies, but then looking at the toolkits that I can use to help me in my daily work. And so when I first started out, I used Microsoft Project, and then I used the other tools that I could use that were available to me. And over the time, I became very proud of a pack which I developed, which was in Excel, and it was a series of worksheets which had all my risk, actions, issues, minutes, etc. that I had there. And that was what I would use time and time again. And when I was managing teams of project managers, we developed this toolkit which we would use for any new projects. So when I first came across Smartsheet, I was blown away by what I actually found and realised there's so much of a better way of doing this. And so therefore, the toolkit which I'd always had, which I proudly revamped each time, I never use again, because everything that I could do within Excel is now actually managed within Smartsheet and so much better. And the reality is, when I was using Microsoft Project, well, Smartsheet does everything that I want to do within Microsoft Project. And yet I can do it there, and there's so much more that comes with it. So let's just have a quick look at what I'm talking about. So this is the Excel toolkit which I used to work on, and you can see there's a whole series of tabs down at the bottom in terms of the worksheets, in terms of teams and meetings, who's in the team, the actions, the time plan. And it was very fancy here that I could put in timings to the time plan, and I could change the dates on the time plan. And let me just change this one to here, for example. And isn't that exciting? Because you update Excel, it updates the chart for you. And I thought, this is really innovative. This is when I didn't have access to Microsoft Project, because Microsoft Project, £300 license fee, and all you could do with that license fee was use Microsoft Project. And only the project manager had that. Now, most people have Excel, so great, you go and manage your projects in Excel on that basis. But what's the challenge here? Well, if you're saying that your projects are not worth more than £300, then not quite sure kind of where you're operating, because most of the projects I've worked on have certainly been worth more than the investment of £300 for the licenses. And that's when we look at a Smartsheet license, and that's for the project manager. And say that's pricing again, which changes. So obviously look at what is the current pricing and in your local currency. But the reality is, for very little, and bearing in mind only people who are actively making changes within Smartsheet need to have a license, then within that, what you can do within Smartsheet is absolutely fantastic, because the people making changes do not need a license on that basis. So I was managing within this sheet and have my risks and issues and decisions, etc., all down here, and all these various items. And so when I discovered Smartsheet, I was like, hang on a second, I can do all this and better within Smartsheet. So I set about creating my template set, which is exactly what I wanted. And so if I go to my time plan here, rather than the Excel sheet, well, in fact, I could have this to be my Excel sheet. Let me just go to the top. I can turn this into the Excel sheet in a little flick of a switch, but then actually I want it to be more useful, and I want it to be my Gantt chart. So quickly I turn it into my Gantt chart, and here I've got the timings, I've got the baseline, I've got all the things which I could, that I would want, and more in terms of various columns, etc., which I use these days within my Smartsheet, and other columns which are useful. And then you've got the collaboration factor, where you've got comments and attachments and proofing and reminders, all the automations that come with within Smartsheet as well. So just on the timeline alone, the difference is fantastic, and that everyone can get to this. Unlike if you're using Microsoft Project, who can use it? The people who've got a license for Microsoft Project can use it. Now, yes, things are changing in terms of some of the online access, but what you can achieve here within Smartsheet is absolutely fantastic. And so for me, there's been no turning back in terms of what I've seen and found within Smartsheet. So if I come out of this one for a moment and just go back to, I'm not going to save, don't save. If I just go back into, then that's a time plan, but then the RAID log. So all the items I've got here, then I can have the risks and issues and actions, decisions, or whichever permutation you want of that. And I can have all this in here. And again, all this information flows elsewhere. So really, all those items I had in my Excel spreadsheet, I've got as different assets here. So I've got my summary status updates, I've got the team, I've got the change log, but also then I've got the budget summary and tracker. And what happens to all this information? Well, that all rolls up automatically into a dashboard. So this I never had. I never had anything like this. And this is fantastic for the whole team to have visibility on that side. And you've got your timeline and you've got your plan on a page, that high level view of it. And then you've got what are the high level risks and issues that you want to have on your dashboard. But even more than that, then all this information, which again, you can go in and update the risk status on this bit and update it automatically and change it to be red. And this will flow through, and I can change the date here to say it's now 6 weeks late, for example. So just change that, 6 weeks late in budget, etc., etc. If I change that, then everything flows up automatically. I'm not having to update further things within the system. You can see it says 6 weeks late here. And then if I roll up another level and go up to the portfolio dashboard, so this is at a project level, go up to the portfolio level, then actually I can have the portfolio dashboard here as well. And I can see all the projects, within here and what's going on. And so if I scroll down in terms of from the portfolio perspective, you can see all the kind of information on the projects which will come across, on this side. So the power that you can have within Smartsheet is absolutely fantastic, on that side. And when I think back to what I was doing previously within Excel, it's worlds apart. And so if you're still doing projects in Excel, my question is, yes, everyone has Excel, but what's the value of your project and what you can get out in terms of the level of collaboration from the projects that you work on within Smartsheet? Absolutely fantastic. So if you've not come across Smartsheet yet, have a look. For me, it was life-changing, and I suspect if you are working on projects, once you discover it, there'll be no turning back for you either. So thanks for watching. Best of luck, and get in touch if you want to find out more. Bye for now.